Hello, Dakusa Dave here. I was until recently low budget Dave until I realized that more than one YouTuber is using the handle low budget. So I decided to change it to adopt my initials DAK USA _ Dave. So now I'm Dakusa Dave. I have a method of mounting a multi-hollow off-center bowl for 2, 3, or 4 hollows, which does not require drilling any holes in the workpiece. And the method allows me to mount the bowl using either hot glue or PVA glue with a brown paper bag sandwich. It allows me to mount it once and do 2, 3, or 4 hollowing operations before disturbing it. It can stay glue mounted for the entire operation. And here's how it works. It consists of 2 discs. One, a flywheel disc with holes cut in for mounting counterbalance lugs. The flywheel disc is attached to the faceplate, and that goes onto the drive spindle of the lathe. And initial preparation for the flywheel disc is merely find the center, draw a diameter, and then locate the center of the array for the bolts, which will become counterbalance lugs. And that can be put away. Yeah, that can be put away for now. The other disc, which will be bolted to the flywheel disc in a triangle or a square. The other disc is smaller. It's the glue disc. It's pretty well worn away right now, but you find the center, find a circle, lay an equilateral triangle onto the circle, and you can lay a square onto the circle. A hint in getting started with the equilateral triangle. The equilateral triangle, the legs are the radius of the circle times the square root of 3. And that'll give you a starting point on where to put those angles. The legs of the square superimposed on a circle, the radius of the circle times the square root of 2. And again, that gives you a starting point. Four holes for the square, 3 holes for the triangle, but one of those holes is common. So you wind up with 6 holes in total. After you've laid these out, if your circle was not quite perfect, or if your line thickness was not quite, if anything was off, and you don't have a perfect equilateral triangle, or you don't have a perfect square, you could be in serious trouble when you go to rotate it to do the subsequent turnings. So, having laid this out, take a compass and walk it around, and be sure that you come back exactly to the right, to your starting spot, with both the square and the triangle. And once you are sure that the square and the triangle are going to fit, no matter how they're translated, then you're ready to drill 6 holes. Now, with those 6 holes drilled here, you can locate the triangle and the square. You can transpose it right to the flywheel disc, but this is where the offset comes in. I used an offset of an inch, and so finding this is just a matter of looking through that hole and finding the mark I've put it at the 1-inch point. The bottom hole lined up here. Clamp the pieces firmly together and drill through 6 holes again. And yeah, it takes a lot of tinkering, it takes a lot of messing around, but once it's done, and it'll work the same way every time I use it. But once those holes are drilled, then it's ready. The circle, the triangle, and the square on the glue disc are dead center. And the glue disc is attached to the flywheel disc off center. And I can set it up, hot glue or PVA glue it, the workpiece to the glue disc, carve here, turn it round, carve here, translate it, and hollow here, and that gives me a a triple hollow off-center bowl. Something tells me I brought back most of a tree from Wisconsin back to Florida a couple of years ago, and I chopped it up into pieces and let it sit. And maple does what it wants to do. So this clearly is not a showpiece, but I did this as proof of concept. Similarly, this doesn't show quite as well. In the right light it does. But here are the lobes. I like to think of this as having the appearance of a 4-leaf clover. But that's my 4-way. So it works. And now that I've done it, I can put this back together, set it on a shelf, and it'll be ready for next time round. And here is how it looks when it's mounted on the lathe. The flywheel plate is mounted center on the drive spindle. The workpiece is centered on the glue plate, and of course the glue plate is where the offset happens. And this is about a 1-inch offset. And as you can see, it turns pretty well. It's not perfectly balanced. It's not easy to do with the lugs of finite size. While I'm here, I may as well have a word about the hot glue gun. I do favor hot glue. It goes on easy. It sets up quickly. But it's only useful to me with a piece that has a steep enough side where I can get the nose of the hot glue gun down into down into that juncture between the piece and the plate. With a bowl that has a lesser angle to the plate, it's not possible to get the hot glue gun nose in there. It's just too far back. There's not enough room, and that's where in this case, of course, I made a mess, a little bit of a mess, but I had to use a sandwich of PVA glue and brown paper bag. Okay, here is the first hollow. I've already dismounted it. I use wing nuts. It's quicker and easier. I've already dismounted it. Taken the glue plate off. Where's top dead? So okay, there's bottom. I took the glue plate off. Switched it 180 degrees. No matter what I do, if I'm doing an off-center bowl, it's going to be out of balance. But with a 4-scoop bowl, if I do the first turning and then do the second turning 180 degrees out, it's easier. There's the bottom of the counterbalance lug array. There's the top. This is approximately top dead center on the flywheel disc, and if I turn it 180 degrees, it'll be out of balance, but the imbalance will be centered on that vertical line. And then, of course, once I've got this area scooped out, then I can turn it again. It'll be centered, and again the imbalance will be centered again. That only works with the first and third turnings on a 3 bowl, by the way. With a 3 bowl, the second turning is going to be out of balance, of course, and it's going to be off center as well. So you'll have to, and that's the reason I put these extra holes out at the edge, in order to counterbalance at about 60 degrees out, in order to counterbalance when I'm doing the second of a 3 bowl, a 3 depression turning. So here is the second hollow, and at this point I am almost tempted to call it a 2 bowl and forget it, because, oh, as you can imagine, the more hollows I put in it, the more air I wind up cutting, and it's a chore. It's a chore to get the next hollowing right, without running out of energy or getting cramps in my arms. But I guess I'll go through with it. So there is the finished product. The divisions, the lobes, don't look quite as much clover leaf as I'd have liked. I think a bigger offset than 1 inch, or possibly making smaller hollows, would accentuate these inside corners. But there it is. Hardly a museum piece, but I'm very pleased to note that the concept was sound and it worked. Now comes the chore of getting the hot glue off. Then I can put the whole assembly up on a shelf, and when I come back to it, I won't have to do any measuring or anything. Just mount up and ride off. Dakusa Dave signing off and thanking you for watching this video.